but there's been some improvements in that area recently. We'll be briefing those sometime soon.
Okay, great. So we're looking forward to getting that operational. Yes.
Thanks, the speaker again. And we proceed to our next speaker, Shih-Ping Chen. We have.
And hello, everyone. It's my privilege to speak on this stage. And I'm glad to stick together with me. So today I'm going to talk about how we this is a very preliminary results that we try to use the machine learning model to find out the quality degradation of the electron density profile. I'll say in short in EDP afterward. So yeah, the mega terrestrial event, that is the Tonga eruption in 2022. During the day, there's a lot of wavy structure in the ionosphere. So this is a conjugate observation of the wave of the day. And there's a lot of plasma bubbles during the day afterward. So, and some research also find, and if you go back to the cosmic ionosphere database at the day, and you will find that a lot of profiles are just like this. There's a zigzag patterns and has a lot of this appearance of the Chapman layer. So what are the causal of this kind of the density degradation profiles? So, but not only the mega terrestrial event day, a random ordinary day like this one, and like 2 months later after the Tonga eruption, and we can easily find in the cosmic database of the ionosphere ion profiles that there's a lot of this kind of irregular profiles. So why those data still exist, and where are those data from? So that's the research that we are going to find. So, but firstly, we just try to use the constant criteria. That's 10 to 10 over 5 to be our criteria to find each profiles in the F region, that if the density deviation is greater than this constant levels, then we just count it as irregular profiles. So this is the like a 3 years histogram of this kind of profile, daily occurrence of this kind of profile in the daytime and nighttime. So you will find that this kind of downgraded data mainly occur during nighttime, and is increased following the solar variation, the 10.7 index. But we both know that the ionosphere is very dynamic. So of course, we cannot use the constant criteria to be our to define which profile is irregular. So we find 2 irregular profiles put together with the air glow emissions from the gold satellite. Then we find out that in different inclinations, sorry, I should mention that, these numbers indicates the locations of LEO satellite. And these lines, the red lines, indicates that the radio occultation links in the 100 kilometer and 200 kilometer and to the 500 kilometer in the tangent height. So this is the electron density of this profile, and this is the SS phase and SNR. So you will find out that if the satellite link is in the zonal manner, then the profile will become this kind of zigzag and fuzzy for profile. But it goes to individual bubbles, then you'll see this kind of depletion. But both go together with the zigzag profiles. So that's why we cannot use the constant criteria to define the so-called irregular profiles. And this is just to put a reference that if the link is not going through the encounter any bubbles, then you'll be just like the ordinary one. So of course it's not, okay, the answer is not So that's why we are using the machine learning. That we assume that we don't preset our mind that those profiles are from bubbles or from waves or from any other sources. We just consider those profiles are irregular. So we just want to find this kind of zigzag profiles. And where are those zigzag profiles distribution? So we found in the F region only, and if the summation altitude of this fluctuation exceeds 50 kilometers, then we consider this is labeled as an irregular profile, and rest of them are the normal profiles. So this is the distribution of my training data. And at the top panel is we trained two models to identify these irregular profiles, because we found that it's totally different background densities for the ionosphere in the pre-midnight sector and post-midnight sector. And so this is the pre-midnight sector, and the vertical axis is the local time. So this is pre-midnight and the post-midnight distribution of the model labeling training data we choose. And this is the geographic distribution. So we will see those training data are not so much considered as the bubble distribution. We already know that. So, and we put it into a supervised training model that we use these 7 variables to train this model, and we just supervise manually labeling these 2 classes of data and make them 80% of those data put to the training model, and then the rest 20% is going to the test data. So if we find this loop that we find the best accuracy, then we put the data to examine the rest of the cosmic data that we are not using for the training. Yeah. By the way, we use only the 24 days of data that to train this model. So it's about 10,000 data for the training data we use. Yeah. And this is the basic concept of the model that we use, the aggregation, bootstrap aggregating, that we separate different bags of data and train them to the different models. Then those models will vote to have a majority vote for any input samples, and everybody will have like a committees to decide which kind of this input data is. So you will see that by the pre-midnight data, the accuracy is about around 95%. And for the post-midnight is also about 95% for the accuracy. So for validation, where is the bubble is? So we use the IBM data for our validation. So all the data to be used in these studies all from the Cosmic 2. Yeah, so this is the results that I want to show. This is the pre-midnight and the post-midnight sector of the results. And for reference, I put the constant criteria. That's I just introduced before, 10 to 5 orders, and for reference. And this is the pre-midnight in constant criteria occurrence. And this is the model result, the machine learning training model result. And you will see those patterns are kind of similar. But in the post-midnight sectors, because we use the constant criteria, so during the post-midnight is getting lower background density. So there's no patterns here, but we have distinct different patterns here. So compare with the IVM data, then we find that, oh, these 2 kinds of data, two local time sectors are in the very similar patterns. And those patterns are similar with the DMSP and the swarm observations that I believe everybody knows that. So to compare, to have the correlation of the results that to compare with the constant criteria and the machine learning model in the pre-midnight and post-midnight sectors, compare the judge is the IVM data. So in the pre-midnight sectors, that both results are showing very good correlation, but during the post-midnight sector, only our machine learning model has a very high correlation that stays in the 0.7. And if we go to examine all the data of some specific longitudes, then we find that, it shows seasonal variations here in the pre-midnight sectors. This is Atlantic longitudes, but not in the post-midnight sectors. And also for the East Asia, it shows some preliminary, slightly seasonal variation, but not in the post-midnight sector. But we can find there's a spiky here that's during the day at this longitudes, about 80% of the profiles are degraded. So during the day, what is that? Is the Tongkai eruption. That, yes, we come back to our mega terrestrial event. So if we compare, if we put all the January in the 2022, because Tongkai eruption day is about the 15th of January. So we'll find that, this is the occurrence of the machine learning models that if you can find this is a peak day of the 15th, that during the day, there's a lot of the profiles are degraded over the day. But if we use the constant criteria, we can find very similar results. So why is the useful of this kind of machine learning model? So if we just put down a little bit our criteria, this is criteria is about the 1 to 5 orders. If we put down the criteria, if maybe the patterns of this figure will be very similar to this one. So this is useless to use the machine learning. But if we put down the criteria, you'll find that, this kind of patterns is harder to find. Yeah. So let me just talk about that. For reference, we also use the S4 index and ROTI and the IBM observation. And let's go back to the source of the this kind of irregularity. The white line indicates the sunset terminator, and the red line indicates the landway, the source of the Tongkai eruption, and the landway just propagate zonally. And this is the reference day for our machine learning previous 1 day prior, and this is during the Tongkai eruption day, and this is for reference, the ROTI. So you'll find that this kind of irregular profiles are following the sunset terminator. So those are bubbles, not the waves, but the ROTI is sensitive to the wave. It's following the landway initiating time. Yeah, and that's my talk. Thank you.
We have time for one short question.
So just a quick comment. It's a very interesting presentation, by the way. But you're focusing on looking at irregular profiles of ionospheric density, right? So all the analysis is based on that. But there are cases, actually maybe even many cases, where you get significant S4, but the profile still looks smooth. And that's something that was always a surprise for me in looking at equatorial data from the CNOFS mission from some years ago, is that there were these, and I never really understood why. You get scintillation, so clearly there are irregularities in structures, yet our profile is sometimes smooth. So you may be missing some irregularities in this analysis because of that.
Yeah, thank you. And may I have a short reply? Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that the purpose we do this research is that we want to select good data for data assimilation. So those irregular data, they may have some outliers or underestimation of ionosphere density. So we are wishing that if we can use algorithms to label in the data someday, then if we want to use it for research, then it will be useful.
Thanks again.
Thank you.